Representative Tim Burchett, thank you so much for being with us. I know you've reflected on this. You talked about praying for McCarthy, saying you feel for him. But was there any way this was just a big misunderstanding?
No, ma'am, it wasn't. It was pretty clear. He has a history of this. Adam Kinzinger actually wrote about it in his book, that he'd done that to him a couple of times. And it's very much within his character. It really is. And it's just a sad commentary or an asterisk on the conclusion of his political career, I guess. You know, he'll ride off into the sunset with $17 million in an account that he'll obviously play mischief in a lot of Republican primary like mine, and 7 of my other colleagues, I'm sure, will feel the brunt of it. But, you know, honestly, I don't have any ill will towards him. I don't have any animosity. It's just very disappointing.
But you're speaking of the $17 million in his coffers. You've alluded to him playing mischief, as you said, and even that Nancy Mace might have some dirt on him. What are you talking about there?
I don't know. They'll have to talk to Nancy. She is, if you know Nancy, nobody speaks for her. She can handle her own. I don't think he would mess with her like that. But, you know, like I said, it's just an unfortunate situation. Nancy she's a very outspoken individual, and she can handle her own. And you can get her on. She's no shrieking violet, I can tell you.
No, she's not. I've interviewed her right here live on the air. But you, Nancy, you all were part of the group, the 8 people that you're referencing who voted to oust Speaker McCarthy. You've actually, I think you told it to me here on this show, that you've described McCarthy as a friend in the past. Yeah. So what happened to that friendship, and have you spoken to each other since he was ousted?
Well, just that incident there in the hall. You know, I was doing an interview with a lady named Claudia from NPR, and she even, you know, when he hit me, I kind of fell forward. He just kind of caught me off guard. Generally, you know, something like that's going to happen. You kind of brace up a little bit, but it was, you know, there he was with his security detail, and she even said, if you really want to get the full scoop on it, you ought to see Griselle. That's her Twitter account. She said it pretty well. I think it's had almost 8 million views, and she's the one who reported it. I never even put it out. It's just a sad commentary on his life, ma'am. I think I don't know what happened really. You know, there's indicators all along. So it's just one of those things, and it's just unfortunate. And I pray for him this morning. I'll continue to pray for him. I feel sorry for him. It's just a sad state of affairs for him. You know, people tried to say, is this indication of all of Congress? Well, no. I mean, you know, I know reporters have gotten DUIs before, and I don't think every member of the press is a drunk. So, you know, it's personal responsibility, ma'am, and that's what it boils down to.
Is there any difference to you between someone, you know, again, as you say, he elbowed you in the back in the hallway. He continues to deny that. But if it was this physical motion where, you know, thankfully you guys didn't go to blows or anything. There was nobody, you know, there wasn't fisticuffs. But what's the difference between that and some of the harsh words, the rhetoric that we've heard from certain lawmakers against each other this week? What's going on?
Well, first of all, he said it was a crowded hallway. He didn't see me. And then he said, well, maybe our elbows touched. And then and he said 2 other different things. So I guess you just kind of take your pick. But if somebody had said it's been 10 weeks, we've been there 10 weeks straight. You know, I don't know. People here in Tennessee work more than 10 weeks and don't blow a fuse, and they're not paid over $170,000 a year. So, you know, I think we need to get over ourselves in Congress and realize the country is falling apart. We're $33 trillion in debt. We've got a border that's like a piece of Swiss cheese. It's very porous, and we're not addressing any of those problems. We ran up another $1 trillion in 3 months this year. We pay $1 trillion a year in interest, and that's money that we just throw away and that the communist Chinese will get. So I dare say we've got a lot more problems than a few verbal disputes that we've had. And historically, you know, everybody says this is the worst it's ever been. Well, we've had a civil war in this country, ma'am. I would dare say that is the worst that it's ever been. and we're nowhere near that. And people they've had duels in the streets. They've had fist fights on the floors of Congress, but we haven't. And so, it's just one of those things. I think.
So do you think the media is blowing this up? I mean, in terms of the conversation around it, obviously, you were willing to speak out. You wanted to make sure that people knew that he elbowed you in the hallway.
Actually, I didn't put it out. I never. If you check my Twitter account, I've never tweeted about it. I told my office, I said, no comment on all of it until we talk to the press. And you all actually talked to me. The lady from Claudia, actually, she put it out on Twitter. That's why y'all knew about it. I was sitting on the House floor and I started getting texts from reporters saying, did this really happen? And then, when I walked out, there they were. So I told them what happened. So, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's entertaining. I know The View had it on the other day. My wife said she heard about it. Of course, they mispronounced. Thank you for getting my dadgum name right. And we're both
there. You go. That's what I was waiting for. I was waiting for the dadgummit.
Well, dadgummit, it's better than a cuss word. You'll notice I was on Christian radio yesterday morning, and they had that video clip. And I told them, I said, I showed great restraint. I said, a good thing I'm not on here apologizing for my language, because the dadgum swear jar we got here is full of IOU. Our little girl is shaking her head. So anyway, but yeah, it's going to be one of those things.
Can I ask you one more question, just to focus? Please. Because obviously, I mean, this could be a distraction, and people would say, oh, what's going on within the Republican Party? People are losing it. But you have a new Speaker of the House. What is and you all just passed a budget to at least have the government run through January 19th. What is the most pressing issue for you right now that you hope to get done as a result of having Mike Johnson with the gavel?
A real budget. We just passed a continued resolution, which is we just funded Nancy Pelosi's and Chuck Schumer's bad policies. Really, it's just a continued resolution, and that's why all the speakers love those, ma'am. They love them because they're full of lobbyist goodies and special interest money in there. That's why they love them, because there's no debate. And this speaker has said, in fact, yes, Jody Arrington, chairman of the Budget Committee, we're going to start working on a dadgum budget, and that's what we're going to do. And when we work on a budget, ma'am, you will see, the country will see all the garbage that's in there, and they'll have to defend every bit of it. And that's what leadership in both parties, the uniparty as we call it, that's what they do not want to see. Wow. And that's what Mike's all about. And I think he's going to be a great speaker when we're allowed to do that. It's going to be teeth and wringing of hands, and it's going to be wonderful.
Well, it'll be nice to see I think the American people should be able to see with transparency exactly what every dollar is being spent on. And we appreciate your time. Thank you again for coming on and talking about something that, again, made the rounds all over social media and the big talk shows. And we appreciate you coming on Morning in America, as always.
I hope you have a blessed Thanksgiving, ma'am, you and your family.
Thank you. I hope the same for you as well and your family. Appreciate it.
I'll be asleep on a couch somewhere.